Welcome to Burn the Ship, the podcast that helps entrepreneurs go all in on their business, and we introduce them to professionals that can help them to do so. Today, we have a very special guest, Dr. Aja. How are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. Got a little bit of Georgia pollen in my throat, but I'm doing good, thank you.
I understand. It is that time. It was snowing some pollen just a few days ago.
It was.
Yeah, but we got Dr. Aja Nichols with Lifestyle Dentistry. You're going to share with us a little bit about your story, and we understand that time is one of our most valuable resources, so go ahead and tell us a little bit about your journey.
Yeah, so I had always wanted to be, since like maybe age 6,
Okay.
I had said, hey, I'm going to be a doctor.
Okay.
Didn't know what that meant. I said neurosurgery, I was going all in and all that good stuff. I used to beat people in, the game Operation.
Yes,
I
yes.
used to nail it, right? Right? So I just knew from early age, like, actually my one of my sisters and I, we would just say, hey, we're going to be doctors, right? And so I just always took the biology path. Like, even in high school, I was asking for frogs to dissect and, brains to take apart and things like that.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Trickled over into college. I'm from Indiana, so grew up in a small town called Anderson, Indiana. And so, like I said, trickled over into college, didn't know what type of doctor, but it was always a biology path, right? And so I went to a small HBCU called Kentucky State in Frankfort, Kentucky. And had a great time there, yes, graduated in 4 years, went back home and I took what's called an MCAT, the medical college admissions test, right? And before I could even get the results back, I had a sister who was in medical school.
Okay.
And I just decided, like, I don't really want to be crying and stressed out in school and all that good stuff. And so I started to look into dentistry. I had braces at the time, and my dentist would tell me all the time, like, you need to go into geriatric dentistry because I'm going to be old by the time so you can take care of me.
Yeah, makes sense.
And so just every time I would go, she would just spark a new interest, and so she had some colleagues at Indiana University who would take in students who were interested. So like on a Saturday, like people would be there. People who thought they were interested in dentistry would be literally waxing up teeth, right? Building dentures, having mock interviews, things like that. And so it just interested me. And so I started to study for the DAT, dental admissions test.
Okay.
And literally you get your score right after the test. And I got high enough to say, hey, I'd like to apply. And I applied to Indiana University and got in.
So how long did you have to stay in school to finish the dentistry portion of it?
So 4 years of college.
Okay.
And then 4 years of dental school.
Oh, 4 years of it. Okay.
Yep.
Awesome,
So
awesome.
I didn't do that until like after college. College kind of burnt me out that last semester. So I got a good job and I just partied a lot, had fun.
Yeah,
and
nothing.
I was like, okay, I really need to do something.
Yes.
That's when I started to take things seriously and look into the group that they had at IU and wax up teeth and shadow my dentist to make sure I wanted to look in people's mouths the rest of my life.
So you went to school for 4 years. You stayed with the same dentist. Was this the dentist that was talking you into it, or was it someone separate?
Nope, same dentist.
Okay,
Yep.
that's
So she was in Indianapolis and school is in Indianapolis. IU School of Dentistry is in Indianapolis. And so I would stay with her, stick with her, ask questions to her. Along the way, you get introduced to other dentists, so other people became partial mentors and all that good stuff. Now, another little thing is when I got accepted to dental school, I literally had a conversation in my head like, ooh, how am I going to pay for this? And during the first week of orientation, they bring in people to talk to you about military, Indian reservation, working in lower income areas to pay back some of that debt. And so I applied and got the Navy scholarship, basically. And so the Navy helped me pay for dental school.
So you had to go into the Navy, or were you servicing?
So during school, it's literally what they call uninterrupted service. So you go to school. They didn't take me out of school for anything. After school, after graduation, we go to officer induction.
Okay.
And that's where they teach you how to suit up, and be an officer, all that good stuff. And so I did that. And that's when I went and I only had to pay back 4 years, but I ended up doing 5 active and 3 reserve.
Well, thank you so much for your service.
My pleasure.
I did have a buddy. He was in the Navy, and it took him all over the world. Were you able to go everywhere?
I was not.
Okay. How
I
was
did
your
a
experience?
residency 1 year in Portsmouth, Virginia, and then I was in 29 Palms, California. So I'm not sure if you've ever heard of 29 Palms. It's a Marine base, and I joke and tell people all the time, there's nothing to do there but get in shape and get close to God.
Okay. Well, awesome. Those are not too bad things.
Right.
While you were there, were they expecting you to look at teeth while you were there? Was
absolutely.
that part of the deal?
Yep, absolutely. When I was doing a residency in Portsmouth, we saw everyone, and when I say everyone, active duty, their family members, also called dependents, and veterans, right? In a hospital setting. And then when I got to 29 Palms, it was all active duty. And some emergency cases where we would see a dependent, but it was literally on base.
Okay. Well, that's a good deal. So 4 years active, 3 years in the reserve. Those 3 years in reserve, you were still doing the same job, or you moved on to something different?
So same job. So my position in the Navy is I'm a dentist. That's it, right? Well, when you're in, they say you're an officer first and then a dentist second. Yes. So it would look, what it looks like is, if you know anyone who's in the reserves, it's like 1 weekend a month. And so there are some places that you actually do dental work that weekend a month. Here in Atlanta, we were just literally doing paperwork and exams on other reservists. And so it wasn't dental work that we were doing. But, it served its purpose. And then 1 week out of the year, we go actively train somewhere. And so just
you still had to do the physical part, all the running.
All the tests.
Oh, my goodness.
All of that.
I thought you were able to skate away from that.
Still had to stay in shape.
I got you. Okay. Well, that's cool. So now after the 7-year period, you're 8 years, you're deciding to move on to do something differently. Tell us about that transition.
So, literally, I just got to a point where I was like, I will regret if I never get out of the Navy. It was, and I don't want to downplay anyone's experience, but it was easy to be in the Navy. Get up, go see patients, all that. It was good. I got all the training I needed, the courses I needed, and I just wanted to practice dentistry outside of the military. And so I decided, hey, this is going to be my last year. Let me start to transition. I knew I didn't want to move back home to Indiana, so I started looking different places. I got my license in Georgia. And I said, okay, let me make this my next stop. I worked for corporate dentistry for I got 3 years, 2.5 years. So this is like 2013.
What does that mean, corporate dentistry?
Yes, that's a great question.
Yes, what is that?
So it's like you have, this is pretty good. So it's like what we've had conversation about, like the big Capital One, right?
Yes.
More corporate, right? And you go there, you get basically the same thing. Not really much flexibility. They see a whole bunch of patients. They take a whole bunch of insurances. Probably you're overworked because they're booking you. Versus MP Group, right? Smaller, can be more customized to the customer, right? Same with private practice. There's no shackles on you, right? So I get to say, hey, this is how big or small I want my practice. I get to be more relationship focused, more patient focused, versus I got to see all these numbers and meet the corporate numbers. You see all these patients meet the corporate number, which is, added stress for some people. My turning point when I worked for them was I literally, you have your monthly, quarterly meetings with the boss, right? I'm not the boss. I'm just a dentist there. And I remember him telling me like, hey, doc, you're doing great. Patients love you. And we want you to spend less time with the patient, less time getting to know them. You should be in and out, new patient exam, about 5 minutes or less, right? And so in my mind, and I really recall saying this out loud in a very respectful way, but I was like, so you want me to present $6,000 worth of treatment and only be with the patient for 5 minutes. Like, that just doesn't fly. If you came and told me, hey, you need to spend $6,000 with MP Group, and I literally only get to talk to you for 5 minutes, and I'm just meeting you, you're probably not going to get my business.
That's right.
Not everybody's like that.
That's right.
But you're not going to get my business. I don't feel comfortable. I don't know you.
Right.
And so that was red flag number one for me, where I was like, ooh, I don't want to practice this way, right?
Yes.
And so that is one of other things that made me start to say, again, I'm going to regret if I never try to open up my own practice. And one of the things that fuels me to this day is, a lot of people, we have a fear of, it's an inauthentic fear. We're scared to try something because we might fail. One of the things that fuels me is, okay, girl, so what? Like, I can always, if I get out the Navy and it fit, I can always go back to the Navy.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
If I go in private practice and it doesn't work, I can always go back and work for corporate dentistry. And so that's one of the things that fuels me to like, okay, like, yes, nobody wants to fail, and it's not the end of the world if you do.
Yeah. You had the right mindset as we get ready to transition over to your current business. Now, I know you were talking with the corporate people and they were like, hey, listen, you got numbers to hit. Don't be asking these people what their name is.
Yes.
But was it a specific event that happened that made you say, you know what, I'm going to burn the ship and go all into lifestyle? Did something like that happen for you?
Nothing too dramatic, but I think it was because I didn't want to experience that dramatic. I wanted to literally, how you call it, burn the ship before it happened. Okay. And so I was just like, I don't want to get in a position where I absolutely despise coming into this place. And then now I'm floundering around trying to say I want to open my own. I just made a plan. Like, I know this is how I don't want to practice dentistry. Let me make this transition. Let me start planning to make this transition to burn this ship.
Right.
And I was all in. Like, I stayed with the company and started working part-time for them while I was building my own.
Yes.
And creating my own path, I guess, right? Which birthed Lifestyle Dentistry.
Okay.
And in August of 2016, that's when I had my first patient. I probably spent maybe 8 months building it out, looking for a place, building it out, getting capital to do so, all of that good stuff. And that's when Lifestyle Dentistry was established.
Awesome. So congratulations with that. I always say
you.
to all the business owners that had the courage and the gumption to get off of the curb, and get from up under that corporate umbrella where things are nice, but you can't go but outside that umbrella.
Exactly.
But to go out and do that. So we want to take some time for you to tell us all about your current business. Tell us all those good things that you're providing, those services and all the things.
Awesome. So I am a general dentist. You've heard me say this before. At Lifestyle Dentistry, we focus on the ABCs of dentistry. Airway, breath, and cosmetics, right? And what that really means is I focus on and do a lot of work with sleep and airway, okay? And so what does that mean? You come into my office and yes, I look at your teeth, I look at your x-rays, look at your mouth, tongue, all of that good stuff. And I'm also asking you how you're sleeping. Do you grind your teeth? Do you wear a CPAP? Have you already been diagnosed with obstructive sleep apnea? Okay. And so we focus a lot on that, right? And we go from there. Then we talk about, and not necessarily in this order, it depends on what you come in for, but the B, breath, right? I have a lot of patients who come in, married or not, where their breath is keeping them from having an awesome dating life. Their breath is keeping their spouse from not wanting to be intimate with them, right? Yes. Or they know it's keeping them from jobs and having job interviews, and not even just the smell, but let's go into the C, cosmetics. They don't want to talk. They don't want to smile because their teeth look a certain way, right? Spaces, crowding, look like they're fighting for space, right? Staining, they just don't like it. And so when you come to Lifestyle Dentistry, those are the conversations that we have, because those are areas that I have felt like I give the patients the absolute most boost of confidence in. And once they get to know and learn me, and I learn them in more than 5 minutes, right?
Yes, please.
They're comfortable enough to say, hey, this is an investment that I want. I have been wanting these things. This would make my spouse happy. Back to the airway and sleep. I can now sleep in the same room as my spouse, or my spouse can sleep in the same room as me, because now you've made me an appliance that helps me from snoring at night, or you're helping change the structure of my mouth so that I don't snore. So, so those are the things we focus on.
Okay. I wanted to just dive a little bit deeper into that sleeping part, because we joke all the time, like, man, you're snoring so bad, especially your friends going through college, playing on those different sports teams, having to be in close quarters with people. Tell us a little bit more about it. You called it an appliance?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, first, I'd like to start off by saying snoring is not normal, okay? Right. You can be overweight. You can have a good amount to drink. Those things exacerbate the snoring, okay? They don't cause it. And so I tell... when I do presentations and talk to parents, because I'm starting to look at them young, okay? When you have the 6 and 7-year-old that are snoring and their teeth look crowded, we're having those conversations and putting them in appliances and guides so that they don't grow up to snore and have crowded teeth and underdeveloped airway, right? And so the snoring is not normal. And so what happens is, we get so used to it. Everybody thinks that because majority of people, it's literally high 80% of people who have undiagnosed sleep apnea, right? Yes. And we get to joking and, it's actually devastating to you. Undiagnosed sleep apnea literally increases your rate for stroke anywhere from 40 to 60%. Okay. People with cardiac issues, like all of a sudden, in their later ages in life, they start having heart issues, right? And they've had undiagnosed sleep apnea. It increases your chances of cardiac failure by 140%, right? I have a cardiologist friend, really quick, who I talk to all the time, and he tells me, Doc, by the time they get to me, it's too late. He started doing sleep tests on all of his patients. He's private practice, started doing sleep tests on all of his patients. 100% of his cardiac patients have sleep apnea. Okay, 50% of them, about 50%, a little more than 50%, have severe sleep apnea, right? And just to dive in, not to really nerd out on you,
it's fun.
What that means is how many times you stop breathing per hour. Okay. And so when you come in, I give you a sleep test, right? It's a ring that you wear on your finger for a couple of nights. And I get your numbers back. Technically, I can't diagnose you with sleep apnea, so I work with sleep physicians. And I get your numbers back, and I say, Roderick, this says that you stop breathing 40 times per hour. Now, the ring doesn't even pick it up unless you stop breathing for 10 seconds.
Oh, goodness.
Okay? So if I say, this says you stop breathing for 40 times per hour, imagine all the times you stop breathing for 5 seconds. 6 seconds, 9 seconds, right? And so we go from there. Again, not to get all into the weeds of it, but it's called root cause dentistry, basically. Why are you grinding your teeth? Why are you snoring? Why are you not sleeping well? Why do you have headaches when you wake up? Why is your jaw muscles, this muscle called the masseter, stick out so much and so strong? Because you're clenching and grinding. It's not just because you're stressed at work, right? Does it exacerbate it, make it worse? Absolutely.
Yes.
But there's something going on. Why is that going on? And that's when I started to dive into it. I had a patient who I replaced his crown like 3 times in a year. That's a lot. That's a lot. Why are you breaking this? Why are you fracturing this off? Right? Just started diving into it. This is not something they teach us in school. And you just dive. And once you learn things and see things, you just can't unsee it.
That's right. That makes a lot of sense, because your experience is what people don't understand they're investing into. It's not necessarily, I've been doing this for so many years. I've seen so many things. I can do it. And just because I can do it a little bit quicker than someone else doesn't mean that it's not as valuable. So I definitely understand that. But thanks for diving into that sleeping part, because it's important. I don't know if a lot of people correlate dentistry with sleeping, and some of those things that you're sharing can help. It has my mind racing and said, do I wake up 40 times? I might actually do that. I might need to get something checked out.
And we have so much research that shows now that grinding is related to that. Getting up in the middle of the night to use the restroom is related to that. Like so many things that diabetes, so many things that are relating back to obstructive sleep apnea. And again, like I've had patients, my dentist has never, my old dentist has never told me anything or talked to me anything about. It's not that they didn't want to, they just didn't know about it. This is not something we're taught. You know, if I only do bridges, right, and no implants, I'm not going to try to sell you an implant.
Yeah,
I want you to
I'm
stay
focused
here
on that,
in my business, so I'm going to do what I know best, right? And so, you know, when I have patients like that, I say, you know, it's just because they didn't know what they didn't know. Again, you have to have that hunger to learn more and not just stay. You know, dentistry is always evolving. Like it's crazy. Things that I do this week, I'm telling you, next week is going to be like, oh, I need to shift my mindset on it. And so it's a select few of us who have gone down this road to root cause dentistry. Why are you doing these things? Right. Why?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and it's awesome to hear how you evolve as things are coming along.
Yes.
I'm sure over time, especially with you have wanted to be a dentist since 6 or 8, you said. You've seen dentists or doctors, period, that are stuck in their ways.
Absolutely.
Hey, listen, this is what I learned in 1978, and this is true for 2025 also, although so many things have changed. It's awesome to hear you say it can be next week.
It could be
more information comes out, and I'm okay with that. Instead of saying I got to stick with my archaic ways.
Exactly. And it's not necessarily saying the archaic ways didn't work for them, but they just don't have the energy to put into it, because it definitely, there's a learning curve. Like, you know, that is one of the things that I believe my patients appreciate about me is I don't know everything. I'm learning, and when I know it, I'm going to tell you about it. And we're going to learn together. You know, I'll never put you in a situation where it's any kind of oops or anything, but just know that things are evolving.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for telling us about the business, you know, those services that you're providing. I want to ask, as far as you touched on it briefly, you said there were sleep doctors that you work with. I'm trying to find who is a good referral partner for you, as we are looking to try to connect you with additional business owners that need those particular services. Tell us about your referral partners.
As far as business owners, especially in the medical field, literally any doctor that is doing or providing sleep tests. I've found and have a lot of business partners who are giving the sleep test and only thinking that a CPAP is what's going to help them, right? Help their patient. And so they don't even know about, again, I'm going to throw another term out, oral appliance therapy, which is what I do, right? And so, again, they're giving sleep tests and don't know where to go after that. Dentists, there are some giving sleep tests and don't know where to go after that. And so those are great referral partners for me. Any type of physician who is facilitating or directing their patient to have a sleep test, it's a great referral partner for me. Very difficult industry that I'm in. I think I've talked to you about this before, because if it doesn't hurt or if you can't see it when patient talks or smile, they put it on the back burner, right? And so and that's hard for like the common person to have a referral partner, because nobody's going to just walk up to you. Not many people will walk up to you and say, hey, I need a dentist. Hey, you know, I'm snoring. I need somebody that's going to help. They're not doing it, right? Because they're so used to not getting enough rest. They're so used to waking up still tired, right? And so very hard. You literally have to be in conversation with people multiple times to even dive into it. But yeah, that's the joys of dentistry. And one of the things that I do is in business groups, I just train them how to look for things, how to listen for things. Kind of like, you know, like if I know someone who needs merchant services, I know what to listen for, you know? And so, again, difficult industry, but when you know, and you have somebody to refer.
Well, that's a good deal, because I always want to help find that end user, or that
Yes.
client patient. But what I found networking for all of these years, trying to find that referral partner, like with us, like a CPA is a great one because they are sending over opportunities.
Right.
And I just wanted to use this opportunity to, find your referral partners, or if they're watching the show, they say, oh, okay, I never thought of that connection. And it helps me know
Yes.
as well. So I definitely appreciate
Yeah.
you sharing that.
One last thing I'll say too. A great referral partner is a patient. So let's say you hear me say all of this until you come in to say, Doc, let's see what we can do with this. Then that you become another mouthpiece because
Yes,
you've experienced it yourself.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And, I say the same thing. I say, oh, in order to do that, why don't you go ahead and sign up so you can see how it works? So I feel you. I feel you on that. Now, going into that, that's perfect because that is a way to help grow the business. And that leads us right into this next segment. Over time, I'm confident with your experience of being in school, your experience with being in the military, and now being out on your own, that you have acquired and nurtured some business skills or some best practices that have helped you to become successful. Do you mind sharing with the audience that's watching today some of those practices that they can possibly add to their bag and help them with some success?
I think the one that stands out most to me, and it might be so cliche, but it's honesty. It really is honesty. I have patients who come and I tell them like, yeah, these types of fillings should be replaced every 3 to 6 years. This is what the research says. They're like, what?
Yes.
My dentist never told me that. Or hey, yes, it's expensive. You know how I know it's expensive? Because if it weren't, you would have been gotten it done, right? And being honest and letting them know like this is an investment. Like this is something that can change your life. Don't let this dollar sign or your fear of dentists or your last experience. Like I tease my patients all the time. Don't bring that last relationship stuff into this new relationship, right?
Okay.
Kind of like dating, right?
Nuggets.
Exactly. This is a new relationship. Give me a chance to let's build our trust with each other, right? And so honesty is one of the things that has worked for me. Like I've been in trainings where they'd say, no, as a doctor, don't discuss finances. Let your office manager do that. Why?
Right.
The office manager may not present it the same way as me. Like I'm not afraid to tell you that this is what it costs. I'm not afraid to tell you that hey, this is going to take 24 months for us to do, right? Honesty. Looking my patients in the eyes.
Yes.
And letting them know like this is not we're not going to take your money and then send you on your way. This is a journey. We're going to do this together.
Yes.
And so that would be my one standout thing.
Okay. Yeah, that's a great principle to have because, again, you can fool someone for so long.
For sure.
You may be able to do a little flash over here and acquire them, but they will see that there's no spark over here. It's just a little bit of flash over here. And instead of trying to ruin your reputation, because that's all you're going to do, just go ahead and tell them. We say it up here, go ahead and eat the bullfrog is what we say. To go ahead and just take care of the nastiest thing. Oh, yeah, you and your dissecting. Go ahead and do the hardest thing that you have to do that morning or throughout the day. The bullfrog's going to be just croaking in your ear. You're going to be doing this small thing, and then you can make it grow into something that it doesn't have to be. But go ahead and get it early. So thank you so much for sharing that.
One of the things, I actually heard this the other day and loved it. Assumption is the laziest form of communication. Right. And for even us to assume that a patient knows what's going on or assume that a patient is A-okay and us not checking in, or for the patient to assume that we're going to just leave them hang. Like we drive all of those conversations. I let patients know, hey, I work with other humans. We are not perfect, and we are willing to get this right.
Yes, that's awesome. Now, we've talked a lot about your journey in the business, and we want people to understand that you do all these things so you can do what we call a life. So let's just say that you've gotten all the ABCs taken care of. Money and time is not an issue. What is it that Dr. Aja would do with her time?
I think that I would take acting classes. I would act.
Okay.
I would act.
All right. Now that's two different things. Going from being a doctor, operation, dentist, now acting. Tell us a little bit about how or why that is. Is it something you've always wanted to do? Did you take a drama class or something?
I did not. I just think I would be good at it. I really do. I have not done, literally, if I've done any like plays, plays, it's like been in church. And they're going to give me a pass. Nobody's going to say, you're horrible. They might scream out, take your time. That means you messed up.
That's so funny. I never correlated that.
That means you messed up a little bit.
Oh my goodness. That's crazy.
But I just think that I would be good. I think it would be fun. I think it would spark a new challenge. Take one.
Yes.
I'm trying to nail take one.
Oh, well, with it being a whole new blank canvas, tell us, would you do some movies? You're going to do shows? What do you think? Plays, like a Tyler
I think I would do movies.
Movies? Okay.
I think I would do
Straight
movies.
to the box office?
Straight to the box office. Straight to the box office. I think I would.
I'm going to say, I can see like some comedic type roles, because you're 60 seconds.
That's hilarious that you say that. I have friends who tell me, oh, you missed your calling. You should have been a comedian. And I'm like, I make you all laugh. I can't, although I would try it. I think I would try it. But standing up on stage and making people laugh, like that is... Let's save this podcast. That's one of the things I might do on
Okay.
Invite all my friends for the complimentary laughs, just in case I bomb
let's do that, because I'm telling you, a lot of the things that you have shared as far as the way you approach the business, you talk about the business, and the humor that you tie into it, I've utilized it, because I utilized our pain conversation.
Yeah.
I said, you don't see the pain. You won't call me until you see the pain. And the pain are those three things I talk about. And it was like, oh, that makes sense.
I love it.
I was like, yeah.
Awesome.
So like I said, in the way that you present it, it's not like a boring credit card processing or dentist, boring. Right. It is, hey, it's live and this is what I do. So I don't see anything wrong with going after those types of roles.
I have brought humor to the room, when I'm doing working on patients, and I can tell they love it. It relaxes them, and so that is a gift that I think I do have.
Yes.
I don't know about crack up funny, but bringing a smile and bringing ease, some relaxation to people. So,
well, no doubt about it. Well, just so you guys know, I am here with the budding star, Aja Nichols.
I love it.
Anyway. But well, thank you so much for that, sharing that. It's not always easy to peel back that layer of the onion. So I definitely appreciate you sharing it. Now, the people that are watching today, if they're interested in learning more about the practice, the skills, or how to become your agent as you get ready to be an actress there, what's the best way for them to get in contact with you?
So you can contact the office at 678-888-5895. We have a website, lifestyledentistryatl.com. The social media that I don't use nearly as much as I should. Instagram is Lifestyle Dentistry ATL. At Lifestyle Dentistry ATL as well. Come by. We give tours of the office all the time. Like, one of the things we pride ourselves in, we don't smell like a dental office. So that's ways you can reach me. Email Dr. Dr. Nichols, Nichols, patients, PATIENTS, at gmail.com. That's also a way that you can contact us.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. And again, we truly do appreciate you coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. And we honor all of our guests by giving them the last word. So please look over there at your camera and tell the people something good.
So I'm going to keep it dental. 2 things. Stop ignoring the snoring. And lastly, be true to your teeth, or they will eventually be false to you. Think about it.
I told you, you got some good ones. So thanks again for coming on to the show today. We appreciate it.
I appreciate you.
And to everyone that is watching, be kind and thanks.